Hey, it's me, Jetski, and today we are doing another Lost Media video. Today we're doing it, though, on Kirby. This was actually at the request of one of my viewers, thank you. Before we start, though, I will have to ask you to please like and sub, it really helps out the channel. Thank you very much. Also, sorry for the wait in between videos. I've been working on a lot of stuff as of recent. Still got a surprising and interesting video I'm working on, but that's taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Let's hop right into this. The first topic I want to talk about is a canceled Kirby game for the Nintendo GameCube. Now, this started development early on in the GameCube's life. However, it constantly got delayed until it just never came out. However, the game was, I guess, somewhat reworked into Kirby Return to Dreamland, which released on the Wii. This was actually known as Kirby Adventure, though. Slight differences, mostly gameplay-wise and graphically-wise. However, it feels like we got the same game at the end of the day from what we've seen, which is pretty cool, you know. However, I am still curious to see what a Kirby game on the GameCube could have looked like, because Kirby, at that point, I pretty much completely skipped that entire generation, unless you want to count Kirby Air Ride, which I guess did come out. But on a Kirby Air Ride, which is my next subject, you see, that game is a completely crazy story, which I will get into right now. Now, in case you didn't know, Kirby Air Ride actually started out as a bowling game on the Nintendo 64 of all things. Yeah, that's pretty weird, I know. At first it was a bowling game, and I say bowling loosely because you pretty much just control Kirby Super Monkey Ball style until you hit bowling pins. Yeah, I can kind of see why that got scrapped. However, there was an interesting mechanic that they reused to create the Kirby Air Ride mechanic. That was Kirby riding a surfboard through the levels. They thought this was such a cool idea that they brought it back. However, you might think this is the part where they brought it over to the Nintendo 64. That is where you're wrong. You see, it was actually still on the N64 at this point. And a lot of work had been done on the N64 version of the Kirby Air Ride. However, apparently the lack of progress or something like that, I don't know, Nintendo's words, not mine, just kept them from releasing this version. In fact, it was labeled canceled because it had been so long since they actually talked about it. However, during the early years of the GameCube, new trailers had popped up for it, and that's when people realized that it was just worked over on the GameCube. Another thing about Kirby Air Ride, though, a little bit of more Lost Media. Apparently, there was supposed to be a bigger Trial City level, but that was cut down tremendously, which is pretty interesting. I would have loved to see a bigger level like that. On to the next thing. Now, the next topic is one that is pretty well known, and it has actually been found. It was found in 2016. However, I do want to mention this due to the extreme well-known that the fact that it was lost. However, most people don't actually know it has been found. In fact, I didn't know it was found until I started doing research for this video. That would be the Kirby Right Back At You Shell-Shocked episode. Now, the thing that interests me the most is that for some reason, during the airing of this episode, about half of it was lost, because apparently midway through the episode it got cut or interrupted, I guess, by a baseball game that had just happened or something. I don't know the full story, okay? I did a little bit of research. I can't remember all this stuff. So, due to that, most of the English dub of the episode was completely gone for years. And the fact of the matter was they were going to actually have to contact 4Kids themselves to get a copy. However, that didn't even need to happen, because apparently somebody had a VHS copy on hand, and that is how it was actually found. The next piece of Lost Media is actually a canceled 2D platforming game meant for the Wii. It actually started development on the GameCube, though. However, it later on moved to the Wii. It was just a simple 2D platforming Kirby game. It didn't make it very far, unfortunately. There's only one screenshot that has ever been seen. I wish there was more, but that's pretty much all I can say about this one. I don't even know the name of it, really. They didn't really give names or specifics at all. I would love to see more of this, though. On to the next one. Now, here's a really interesting piece of Lost Media. Most people have not seen, and I doubt it'll ever show up. But if it does, it'd be pretty cool. So back in the early 2000s, they had this little GBA Game Boy Advance media player. A lot of movies came out on this stuff, a lot of DreamWorks specifically. Shrek is one of the most well-known ones. However, there has been a couple for kids things that came out as well. One of the biggest ones was Sonic X. I remember they had like a couple of those that came out. But also there was supposed to be apparently a Kirby Right Back At You Game Boy Advance movie player thing. It never came out though. The only reason we know this exists though is through magazines and articles and stuff. This has never been released. It's just in that one issue of a magazine. That's pretty much all I got to say on this one. It sucks that there's not much on this, but it's really interesting to me. Yeah, on to the next one. The next one is a super interesting one that not a lot of people have talked about. Other than L Supersonic Q, I can think of no one who's actually talked about this. This would be the Kirby Tilt and Tumble sequel that actually used the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance. So you'd actually control Kirby using the Game Boy Advance connected to the GameCube, and you'd actually look at Kirby on the GameCube. Super interesting. This unfortunately did not make it very far into development from what I've seen. In fact, later on in development, there was a game very similar to it, produced by the same company, without Kirby at all. Instead, it was just a bunch of random shapes. It sucks that that ended up just being kind of a tech demo, though, that never really even got released anywhere else. Super interesting. It showed off the Game Boy Advance and GameCube connectivity, and it sucks that it really never seen the light of day. However, I guess it ended up kind of becoming a thing. Because, you know, at least we got the first one, I guess. On to the next one, and most interesting one I will probably talk about today. It's also the last one I'll be talking about today, so you know. As previously stated, the last thing I will be talking about is the first actual attempt at getting a 3D Kirby game made. Now, there isn't much footage or even screenshots of this. In fact, I only found the one screenshot I could find right here. This is really sad because we could have got a 3D Kirby game at least 10 years earlier than we actually did. This was planned as a Wii release. The idea was it was supposed to be a super hard 3D platforming game in the Kirby style. It didn't make it very far, unfortunately, though, due to lack of quality or something. I'm not for sure what the exact term I'm looking for is, but it sucks because we could have got a 3D platforming Kirby game way earlier. However, at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad with what we got. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, man, is pretty solid. I liked it. I dug it. That's pretty much all I got to say on this one. That's pretty much it for today, honestly. Thank you all for watching. It was Amiyajeski, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.